Welcome back to the Rounding Third Podcast special edition with big time news just breaking here in good old fashioned Start Vegas. We've got Raelin Chaffin and Sierra Sacco, two players on our program, seniors from the great state of Louisiana, right across the Mississippi River. Welcome to the show, Sierra and Raelin.
Thank you.
It's been a bit of a busy day for you guys. You want to maybe share with the people back home how your day has gone so far?
Today's been really rough for me, actually. I woke up this morning, went to weights, and I had a flat tire. So I called Jamie, who was our director of ops, and she met me in the weight room parking lot, and we got my tire filled up with air. And I take it to the shop to get it fixed. And when I leave, there's something wrong with my exhaust that was not wrong when I pulled in there. And so I had to go back, and when I got there, they told me that they didn't do it, and they told me I could leave, and I was like, I'm not leaving. So I'll fix it. And I proceeded to call my sister and tell her I'm having the worst day of my life.
Little did you know.
Yeah, but it's gotten much better.
Yes, and Sierra, I know you had big plans that have now kind of all been thrown out of whack
Okay.
for good reasons.
Right.
But these two, obviously, were drafted into the AUSL. We don't know what team yet. We will find that out on Saturday night. But two more players going from state to the show, T-Brat, and I know you've been a part of this for a while now. You've seen them kind of grow and develop, but you've seen how this program has grown and developed and put more and more players into professional ranks lately.
Yeah, you're right, and it's exciting to see players of their caliber continue to play at the highest level. And that's something that we've kind of hung our hat on as a program. We've identified some pretty good players through the recruiting process and then developed a lot of those players in this program. And you're starting to see that when you start looking at some of the successes that we've had in numerous categories, both offensively and in the Circle 2, as these two players kind of illustrate. But you start looking at the list and, you know, the Mia Davidsons, the Fale Luas, the Madison Kennedys, the Chloes, the Aspens. I mean, I think Aspen's been playing like all over the world. Her and Chloe both have been playing all over the world. And they were just players in our programs a year and 2 years ago. And now to add two more to it, to the long list of players that have come through. The very first player ever drafted to the Professional Softball League was a Mississippi State Bulldog by the name of Aya McMichael, who's now coaching with Team USA in the 15 and under division. So there's been a lot of history of highly successful athletes that have come through our softball program, and we're just thrilled to death to be able to add these two to that long list of good players.
Yeah, number 14 and 15. Again, don't know the teams, don't know the order yet, but number 14 and 15 drafted, and only 12 players across the country. Mississippi State is one of two schools in the nation with multiple players that will be playing professionally or will be drafted this summer. Obviously, there are other players in the league already. Mia Davidson, you mentioned, is one, so you'll get to either be her teammate or play against her. We'll see kind of where things shake out. But I know they asked you this right after you guys got the golden tickets, but maybe who are you looking forward to playing with or playing against?
Ricketts' sister, Kalani. I have a picture of her watching me pitch when we were playing in Florida when I was in my second year of 12U, and my mom took a picture of her watching me, and it was like the biggest deal ever. And I showed Ricketts when I came on my visit here, so I'm just super excited to get to play with her, play against her, just be in her presence. So I'm excited.
I'm excited for really everyone. Like, I've been watching softball since I was able to watch TV. So I just look up to all those girls, and I'm just excited to compete with them.
I know for you in particular, this has been something that's been on the radar for a while. And, you know, you didn't know if you were going to be picked or not, but I know it had been something that between you, your family, your friends, we've seen it on social media. Everybody's kind of like, somebody pick Sierra. Somebody draft Sierra.
Yes.
So as we get closer and closer to a Saturday night draft and you see other players around the country starting to get tickets, kind of what are you thinking? Again, neither of these two had any idea what was going on tonight until, Commissioner Kim stepped out and presented you with the tickets. So as you see those going, kind of what goes through your mind?
Well, you definitely start getting nervous because you're like, oh, goodness, there's only 6 left, 5 left, 4 left. And you're like, am I even going to get one? Like, how's this going to go down? And I'm just so excited that me and Raelin get to play in the same league. And it's just all so real because I was just really hoping this would work out.
Yeah. And so you even talked about this, Raelin. You got to watch Sierra get her ticket and kind of thought that was it and everything was over. And then surprise number 2.
Yeah.
Kind of take us through your moment.
I know I was telling her when we first started, I'm like, I'm gonna stand in the back. Like, I don't want to be on the video board. Like, I'm just gonna stand back here while y'all talk up front, because apparently she was gonna be talking to the crowd. And so then she gets down, so I'm like, oh crap! Like, I'm back here. Like, I'm so happy. I want to go hug her. So I didn't get to like see her till everyone made their rounds hugging her. And then like, okay, so now the third inning, we're gonna do it for real this time. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting in the back. And Taylor's like, get up front. I'm like, no, I'm not getting on the video board. I don't want to be on camera. And then whenever they were like, just kidding, and everyone looked at me, I was like, there's no way, there's no way. So yeah, I just never even thought it was a possibility. So I'm just super thankful.
So all of this, again, we said was a secret, was a surprise. The message that we told you was that you're just going to baseball for a recognition. Like you said, we kind of at the last minute threw Sierra up front and said, hey, you're going to talk on the microphone, which I know you were kind of looking at me like, what do I say? And I just kind of made something up because I was thinking, it's not going to matter. You're not going to say anything. Like, we're going to walk up there and act like we hand a mic to you, and you're never going to say a word. So we had some planning on the back end that we had to worry about. How difficult was it for you and the coaching staff, Bratton, to keep this secret for as long as you have?
Yeah, it's challenging because it's such good news, and you know that there's there's a lot to play for the rest of this season, but knowing that there's also a professional career going on afterwards, I mean it's a feather in their cap for these ladies here, and just we're super proud that A, they chose to be Bulldogs, and then B, that they're able to continue on their career at the next level. And it's a credit to both of these young ladies to my left. You going into the preseason, and awards and rankings and this and that start coming out, and neither one of our players or none of our players were preseason all SEC. And here we are leading the SEC in batting average through SEC games with 1 weekend to go. And here we are, Sierra Sacco at the top of the batting order in terms of offensive categories. I think number 2 in batting average, top 10 in slugging percentage, top 10 in on-base percentage, top 10 in run score, top 5 in hits. You go on down the list, and then you go into Raelin's numbers with strikeouts and strikeouts looking, and 20 wins. She's one of 3 20-game winners in this league. Ooh. And you talk about how stout the pitching is in this league year in and year out. And that's saying something going against the schedule that we've had. We opened up the season with several top 25 teams, 3 of them the first weekend down in Clearwater, and Raelin won against all of them. Naja Kennedy, Penn State, Nebraska, all teams ranked in the top 25 to start out with, and all you did was walk away with a 4-0 record and National Player of the Week. And it's a tribute to their mentality that they bring day in and day out, the way that they make players better around them, the way that Raelin engages with our pitchers, some of the young arms that are kind of coming along, and you're starting to see some of them get more and more innings. And, being able to have somebody that's been through the ringer before, that's been through the moments before, to be able to kind of help take some young ones like Delaney and Sarah and Abigail, take them under their wing and be able to kind of help show them the ropes that, hey, your time's coming. One time you were a freshman, Sierra, one time you were a freshman. And, it goes fast. The 224 regular season games are in 4 years. It goes in the blink of an eye. And so excited that you guys get to have more playing time once the regular season and the postseason ends here.
Yeah. So we mentioned number 14 and 15 to be drafted. Of course, we don't know the order yet, so you guys can fight over that and who gets to be 14, who gets to be 15. But we'll also be players 27 and 28 to play professionally. There's some undrafted free agents and things in there. I think the number that's surprising is 16 of those 28 have played under Samantha Ricketts in some way, whether it was when she was here as an assistant coach or now since she's been the head coach. At least one player going professional each of the last 6 years. So when you talk about, again, program development and that this is a place where you can come in and make yourself better and leave as a professional caliber athlete, I kind of want to ask each of you, what have you seen this program do that has allowed you to develop in that way? And we can start with you, Brent, just from the coaching perspective, what you do to develop these players.
Well, I think first and foremost, it starts with recruiting. Recruiting is the lifeblood of what we do. If we're not recruiting the right caliber players that have a high ceiling, that have room for growth, that have projectability, if you don't have those kind of players on your board in the first place, then you're not doing it right. And so it starts with having athletes with a high ceiling, and I think both of these two players illustrate that. You look at what Sierra has been able to do offensively and then defensively. We don't talk about her defensive game enough. with how strong that is, the amount of runners she's thrown out trying to score on her or take third on her, the diving plays that become almost routine that you see, the home run robs back at the wall, the gaps that she runs balls down on. I mean, she's a cheat code out there in terms of taking runs away, and that means a lot for a pitcher. That you got 9 players behind you or 8 players behind you that are able to make plays for you too. And when you're going through the evaluation process and you're seeing, hey, what are our needs as a team? What do we need to upgrade in? And a player like Sierra Sacco comes along and like, yeah, she's going to be able to check a lot of the boxes and be able to get into our system, get into the way that we scout, get in the way that we evaluate, get in the way that we run practices. We practice hard. We do a lot of difficult things in practices to be able to get our girls ready for the season. And I think once you start getting the right players into your program, then you can develop them in the way that we know is going to be successful. And you see that with all the pro players that you mentioned earlier. There were several pro players that weren't highly touted either. Madison Kennedy comes to mind. She had 8 home runs, I think was the most she ever had in a year. And then bam, 19 last year, leading the SEC in home runs in SEC play, on her way to being an All-American too. And by the way, she moved to first base to do all this, and so I think it's just a tip of the cap to the program and the players that have come before them, the Cat Moores, the Follow Lewis, who we mentioned. There's just been a lot of good players that have kind of helped lay the groundwork, and the administration too, to be able to provide us with resources, the weight room, the strength staff we have, the technology. We're the first school to offer athlete engineering, the tech pieces that go into the player development side. There's so much more information than we had now that maybe we didn't even have 8 or 9 years ago. And so you get the right caliber players in to be able to tutor them and fine tune some things that they already do well, and then be able to help them take that next step. It's exciting to see the numbers kind of fall off the page with what these young ladies have been able to do for us.
Yeah, and so as you look at, because both of you are transfers, and you both went and played in other programs and then had the opportunity to come here, and I'm sure development, I know for you development was a big piece, because we've had that conversation before. But what was it that drew you in and made you say, if I go there, I can become better?
You want to go first?
You got it.
Okay. Well, for me, I just was a slapper. Like, I would just put the ball in play and run. Like, it's kind of all you're told to do, and it worked out for me. So I just kept doing it, and I never really knew, like, how to be a hitter. Like, how to stand in and hit, and, like, the sequencing of it, like, just the mindset of it. And I think that's what we do such a good job of here is, like, they just constantly work on the mental side of the game. And I don't think that gets credited enough. Like, I think Zach, Ricketts, even T-Brown, like, they're working all the time on the mental side, because this game is 90 to 95% mental. Like, even though, like, we did work a lot on my swing and how my mechanics move and whatnot, like, a lot of it is just, like, how to attack pitches, what to attack, like, what you're good at, working out your weaknesses, just all kind of just mental, just stability things. And just going in with the confidence of knowing that, you're better than the pitcher, and just honestly, like, getting that, like, feeling from them and, like, the confidence that they have in me, just all around makes me a better athlete.
Yeah, I second all of that as well. But I think a lot of it, too, when I went in the portal, I was in a really, really bad spot, like, with my confidence. And it was just, like, on my visit, they just said all these great things about me. And I just got to sit and talk with Coach T and just hear how she develops her pitchers and, what she teaches. And I literally, like, I said it before, but I canceled all my visits. I committed that day. Like, I just knew I wanted to be here. And everything's been solidified since I've gotten here. Coach T really buys into all of her pitchers. It's so one-on-one. I can't explain enough. She is so involved in our bullpens. And not only that, she's involved with us outside of our softball life. And I think for a long time, I was identified as a softball player. And yes, I do play softball, and it is, a big part of my life, but it's not who I am. And she bought into that a lot. Just even now, she knows so much about me in just this short time I've been here. And that's just a huge testament to who she is as a person and coach.
And I want to talk to you more about Coach T, because I think we've talked a lot about Ricketts' accolades and All-American status, playing professionally. Coach T as well, All-American, Women's College World Series MVP, played professionally. At one point became teammates with Coach Ricketts. And so for each of you, I'll let you talk about Coach T, and Sierra, you can talk about Coach Ricketts. But that professional experience that they had, what has that brought to the way that they coach and teach you?
I honestly think Coach T has, and I don't know how it was back then, but she's adapted with everything. She is so up to date with just all of our technology we use and all of that. So she is constantly improving her game as well as a coach, which I think is really, really cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just really cool to learn from one of the best and to go see how she competed and how she was out there. So it's like everything she's telling me to do, I trust and I believe because she did it herself. So it's just super cool to learn from her. I am just forever in debt to her. Love her so much. I couldn't do any of this without her.
And
Yeah.
Coach Ricketts.
Yeah, I second all of that. But like Ricketts, she was a hitter. So it's like getting all of her feedback and just like what to do and what count and like how to manage an at bat to at bat, just in game stuff and like just honestly taking it all in because she was one of the best and I can like trust her word and like know what she sees is true. And like her having the confidence in me and just like seeing the player that she was, like I'm like, okay, you're right. Like I can do it, like, you know? So I think just knowing that she was all of that, like All-American, all that I want to be too. So I think just seeing that and then trusting her.
And then from a coaching perspective, obviously you got the call that these two have been picked. Obviously before that point, when did it kind of click to you, hey, maybe these two could have what it takes to go keep playing after they graduate?
Well, I think we had Sierra a year before Raelin, but the first week of practice, the intensity. There's another gear, a fifth gear, an overdrive, if you will, that made the other outfielders, better right away. And early on in the 4-on-1s and the 9-20 hour segment, you're doing a lot of like individual group work sessions with 4 or 5 players at a time, and we had the outfielders together, and you're just like, oh, that's different. Kat Moore would run balls down like that. Chloe would run balls down like that. Okay, this is different. And those are 2 players. Kat played for the USSSA Pride, and of course Chloe played with the Spark this summer. So you start seeing just different intangibles, and you've been around good players, and I've been lucky to be around a lot of good players from both the baseball side here at Mississippi State and now the softball side, and from first rounders to big leaguers to pro softball players. There's one thing that they all have in common, and that's another gear. And that's a way of being able to make people around them better. That's a way of being able to, find barrel when they need to make the play when they need to get the right hop on the infield, to get the right jump in the outfield. There's things that those people do innately well, and that's what you saw right away with Sierra. And, super, you just can't say enough good things about what she brought to the table right away. And then now we're 2 years into it, and still bringing that same intensity because we expect more out of the youngsters, and that's what you got to have to be able to compete in this league. Because this league, it's a super regional every weekend. We say that all the time, but it's the truth. You look at the schedule we played. Just in our 8-weekend SEC slate, we've had 3 number 1s on our schedule. So you better bring it every week because this game, takes no days off. And if you're not bringing it in practice, and again, that's a credit to what these 2 bring in practice. Raelin going live in game week. Mm-hmm. The tribute to the weight room, working out on game days. Like these are things that we haven't necessarily done a lot of before, but you're doing that now, and you're starting to see a lot of the wins in the SEC start to really, really fall. And it takes a level of committed players that buys into what we're trying to do as a staff, that buys into what we're trying to do as a program, that buys into our mentality. We want our mentality to fall off on our players too. We want them to be reflections of us, and I think both of these 2 embody that extremely well. And Sierra, we were talking pregame or before practice today just about the chess match, the game within the game. And I get asked all the time about, what are you thinking in third base in terms of, do you bunt here? Do you hit and run here? Do you run and hit? What kind of goes through your mind? And there's a lot of things that go through your mind. A lot of times you're 1 pitch, 2 pitches ahead. If we get to this count, we're going to do this. If we get to this situation, we're going to do that. But sometimes the best call is a no call. We could bunt here, but sometimes taking to what you said a minute ago, giving the players the green light, trusting the players and the work that they put in to be able to control the bat here in this spot, and to be able to witness the girls come through time and time again in those scenarios. That's key to us scoring runs, and we're on pace to break some run scores this year. We've already got 300, well over 300 now, and I think that's a tribute to being able to trust the players and sometimes to take a step back and not put a play on that leads to some of the big innings too, and having trust in players like Sierra and Nadia right behind her. Somebody's got to protect Sierra, and we got a Nadia with another year here, and it goes on down the line with Jesse and Sosa and Kia and Styles. I mean, it's just really excited about the future of this program, and these 2 have been a big part of that success.
Last thing I want to ask the 2 of you, when did it become kind of a dream or a thought that this might be possible?
I just said it earlier. when I was doing another interview that, I mean, obviously it's always the dream to want to play pro, and you see all like the girls, who made it big go play pro afterwards. But truly, I never thought I would be able to. So yeah, it's just really surreal. I mean, I didn't think it was a possibility really to do it at this level until tonight. So I'm just overwhelmed. I'm still kind of in shock. I'm just really excited I get to do it alongside Sierra. It makes it a whole lot better. So.
Well, for me, my reality was SEC was the goal, was the dream, was like the highest caliber that like I could reach. And I reached that goal and I was just like, yes, like I'm satisfied, like I've done it, like, and then after like going into this season, like midway through, and I'm like, wow, like I can really compete here, like I am good enough, like I can do this. And then you start going down to Tennessee, and I'm still competing with Carlin Pickens, and I'm just doing all these things against the best arms, Nyjah Kennedy, week 1, and I'm just like competing, and I'm like, wow, like I could really do this, So
Facts.
I think midway through the season, I'm kind of thinking like, I think I can play like at the next level.
Well, Saturday night we'll find out what teams that you are headed to. If you end up not teammates and have to face each other, Raelin, what is the biggest challenge if you have to face Sierra? Sierra, what's the biggest challenge if you have to face Raelin?
I always face you in practice because I
was gonna say,
asked
y'all have
for
done it a lot.
lefties. I know I always asked if I could face lefties, and
she
Sierra's
gets
like,
out.
my group. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just her in the box. I always had, there's some people who, when they stand in the box, you just kind of get scared, and I feel like she's one of those people. Like even in practice, I'm like, please just don't hit a bomb off me. So whenever I get like a little, she mishits, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
all the time.
thank you.
Yeah, I think for me it's just trying to pick a speed and just sticking with it. It's really hard off of Raelin because she has, those multiple speeds that she's going to go to. So I think just trying to pick a speed and hope she throws it to me.
All right, well, for at least 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks, however long this NCAA tournament run may last, you don't have to face each
Right.
other. You're going to be teammates.
Yay!
So with that, again, Saturday night.
I do want to add something before
Yep.
we sign off.
But Saturday night will be the draft, and we'll find out where you two are headed. So
Going in, I remember your visit, Sierra. You first, you committed on your visit too, just like you did, Raelin. And going through the PowerPoint and all that stuff, and we were so excited when you said yes. We knew we were going to be better right away, and thought we'd be 6 games better. And sure enough, we were 6 games better last year. You look at the win versus the previous win; it was 6 more. And then Raelin too coming in, committing on your visit as well. One thing I do want to ask you, Raelin, you've talked about this often about how this place feels like home, and how the community has really bought into you and made you feel special here, and the program, the fans, all those things. Kind of what has Starkville meant to you in a short period of time? You've been with us for a year now, but what has Starkville kind of meant to you so far?
Yeah, I used to go home all the time. I would be so homesick. I would be texting my parents like, I need to come home. And so any chance I got, I would go home. And not that I don't miss home now, but I mean, it is just different. I've made such great friends here. I feel comfortable with all my coaches, and even just people like we were at the baseball game, and a guy came up to me and he was like, good luck this weekend. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that guy in my life, but he knows who I am. And even on campus, my professors are so just in touch. They want to know about what I'm doing with softball. I had one teacher bring the school newspaper to give to me because I was in it, and I'm like, that just has never happened to me before. But I think a lot of it too is from our AD, Zach Selman. I mean, he is incredible. I mean, he just saw me last night and said, tell your parents. I said, hey, how are they doing? And I'm like, you want to know about my parents? Like, it's just like it's just different. The community here is just different. I can't say enough about it. And I think it just starts from the center. But I mean, I can't say enough about our staff, all of y'all. I mean, that's what makes it so special.
Mississippi State, a place where you can come, invest, be part of the community, and be supported, and then at the same time be developed and grow into professional athletes. So thank you both for taking the time. I know it's been a little bit of a long night. We kind of derailed your plans, but I think it was all in good fun and for a good reason.
Worth it.
Best of luck as you continue in the future. Obviously, not going to be opponents for a little while longer. Let's stay teammates. We're going to keep them for a little bit longer before we send them to the league. But for Tyler Bratton, I'm Brian Ogden. This is Raelin Chaffin and Sierra Sacco. This was Rounding Third. Hail State.
Hail State.